Hi, hi, hi. So we're going to do a YouTube live today. If you can hear me, please comment in the chat box there, so I know that the audio is all okay. And then we're going to get started with some questions that have come in from the community. Let's see if I can get this camera a bit squarer. If you can hear me, let me know. Near enough is good enough. And as soon as I've got a confirmation that somebody can hear me, then I will get into the content. So just type in the chat box if you can hear me, if you're on live, and we'll get into the content. Now, if you are watching this in a replay, I will put a timestamp here or here, wherever it lands, to let you know when I get into the questions. I just want to make sure that the audio is working well before I get on. Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Loud and clear. Fabulous. All right, so let's see if I can work out how to screen share. There we go. And let's get into this. Now, please keep in mind that while I'm screen sharing, I will not be able to see the chat, but feel free to tell me what you're up to. My partner is on watching as well, so he'll be able to grab any questions. So I'm live now, and hopefully this is recording well, and it'll be sitting on the channel after we're done. Now, after the fact, in the next day or so, I'll add chapters in, so there'll be those little lines across the bottom of the recording, so you can see the specific questions that people have asked and that I've answered. So if you have a particular question that interests you more than others, then you'll be able to jump around. So give me a day or so to do that. Now, if you're live with me here and you have a human design question that you think that I can answer without seeing your specific chart, then feel free to ask me and I'll come back and have a look at the comments, or my partner will ping me and let me know. And please be kind in the comments. Please treat me and other people in the comment section with respect. Thanks so much. All right, so now, if you are totally new to me, hi, I'm Carolyn Southwell. I use human design and trauma-informed tapping to support conscious leaders who are determined to be themselves. Now, I've been working with human design for more than 10 years at this point, and I have been tapping almost as long. Now, I am, if you know a little bit about human design, I am a 2/4 emotional projector. I was born under the cross of rulership, which makes me a pretty good teacher, I like to think. And when I'm not all obsessed with human design and tapping, I'm doing things like patting puppy dogs, climbing trees, and dancing in the kitchen when I should be cooking, because I like dancing much more than cooking. So first question from the community is, as I practice being an aware projector, I'm noticing that I keep stopping myself from talking, sharing, etc., unless I'm asked for my advice or to contribute to the conversation. Now, in that process, I notice feeling some anger come up towards the person that didn't ask for my, insights or advice, and that I'm having to stay quiet. Now, I'm guessing that this anger is something to just notice, let go, and continue to cultivate silence as a new way of being in the world. Is that correct? Now, quick note, with these questions that I've got from the community from various locations, I've only made a tiny tweak to quotes where there was something that would make it difficult for me to read or for us to understand. So I've kept them as close to, 95% exactly what somebody has asked, but I've put in italics the bits that I want to draw your attention to. So if you're a projector, this question and my answer is going to be particularly helpful. So as we, as projectors, try and step more and more into waiting for the invitation, our human design strategy, this person they've said, I keep stopping myself from talking unless I'm asked for my advice. Now, this is a great practice. It's what we say from a textbook perspective you're supposed to do, but that doesn't mean that it's comfortable or it's easy. So this person, understandably, as I do when I am really deepening my practice in this, is noticing some anger come up, right? It's really hard as projectors to be overlooked. It can be really, really frustrating and angering to have people just not ask us things, to just be basically ignored. Now, this person has said, is it just something to notice, let go, and to continue cultivating silence? I want to encourage you, if this is your experience, whether you're the person who asked this question or any other projector who's having this experience, quick nervous system lesson here. Okay, you probably know the terms fight, flight, and freeze. Fight and flight sit in the sympathetic system, and that is about mobilizing. We need to use that energy. So anger is the energy of fight, which means we need to move our body. It doesn't mean we're going to like go punch the person that's ignoring us, right? But it does mean that we need to honor the fact that our body has this energy and it needs to use it, right? So if this person is notice, let go, and continue to cultivate silence, what they're asking themselves to do is actually use their sympathetic system to go into freeze. And all that does is it traps the anger underneath all of this freeze, and it's not good for you. So it is way more useful to notice, oh, hey, I actually feel angry. Wow, okay. And my partner's saying I can hear but no picture. Okay, so actually I'm just going to pause here for a second and just see. Can you confirm, dear partner, can you see the slides now? I'm hoping that other people can see the slides. So I might just check in. Now, you're hearing everything that I'm saying. So even if you can't see the text, if it's not working this YouTube live, that'll just be something for the parts of me to learn how to do. No, you can't see it. Okay. So I want to come back and see view tab, stop sharing. Let's see. Sound is okay, but no image, says flying free. And okay, so let's see if I can try that again. You've heard everything that I've said, but let's see if I share screen and go to this one. And partner who has opportunity to text me individually, good now. Okay, so can you see the slides now is what I just want to double check. B, can you see the slides now? Da, da, da. This is what we do as we practice living our design. We try new things and we learn, and it's not always going to be perfect, but we learn and we grow and we go from there. So let's just check. All gone again. That's a bummer. Okay, so look, I don't want to. Another time, I'm going to work out why the slides aren't working, but I'm going to read from them to just communicate, so that I can make sure that here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them on another screen. Thanks for joining along with me, guys. So we're going to stop sharing. And I'm going to put these as two individual windows so then you can see me. Flying free says black screen. Okay, so rather than have a black screen, you get to see my face, and I'm just going to pop on my other screen the things that I need to read to you so that then we can work through that. Okay. Okay, so let's have me. We're going to work through this again just for the sake of those who are on the replay, and let's see what answer we get from me this time. So the question was, as I practice being an aware projector, I'm noticing I keep stopping myself from talking, sharing, etc., unless I'm asked for my advice or to contribute to the conversation. In that process, I notice feeling some anger come up because the person didn't ask, and therefore I'm having to be quiet. I'm guessing that this anger is something to just notice, let go, and continue to cultivate silence as a new way of being in the world. Is that correct? So if you are a projector who is practicing waiting for the invitation as per our strategy, then it's really wonderful that you keep stopping yourself from talking and like waiting until somebody's asked. But it is really common, and it can be so frustrating and so angering when you notice, well, actually, nobody's freaking asking me for my advice. Like, this sucks. I'm angry. Why are they ignoring me? We don't talk about this anywhere near enough in human design. We just say, yeah, just wait for an invitation, follow your strategy. And then you sit there as a projector in lots of situations and you realize, nobody's asking me a thing. Like, I'm completely ignored. I feel completely invisible. I have all this gold to share. Why won't anybody ask me to contribute to this conversation. Now, this person has said, is it something to just notice, let go, and continue to cultivate silence? I want to say that continuing to practice it is great, but bypassing the fact that you feel angry is a bad idea for your physical and mental well-being. So again, quick nervous system lesson: fight, flight needs to be expressed. It needs to be expressed in a healthy way that doesn't hurt you, it doesn't hurt other people. When we feel angry, that's part of our fight response. Okay, so that doesn't mean that you go and hurt the other person. It doesn't mean you pick a fight. It doesn't go, you know, bastard, why the hell don't you ask me, whatever, all right, or you bitch, or like, you don't need to do any of this like outward expression towards people, but you do need to find a way to express that energy that wants to be expressed. Because if you be a good little meditator and just smile and get on with it, and I hope you can like hear in my tone of voice how fake this smile is. We can be very good at this, and just like pop that anger under freeze. It's still there. It's still going to be a problem. So don't shove it down. Instead, find a way. If you have to leave the conversation, do that. But like, go stamp your feet or go punch something, right? Something that you're not going to hurt and you're not going to hurt yourself. Go and get that energy out somehow. So then the next time it happens, where you're in a situation where you are practicing, waiting for the invitation, and you notice that nobody is actually asking, you can genuinely notice and go, oh, isn't that interesting? And what will happen over time, and this has happened for me more and more and more as I've practiced this and like worked with my anger as I've felt like ignored, is you just start to notice like, oh, isn't that interesting? I'm not being asked. I'm not being invited. And what starts to happen is you start to realize, oh, this isn't the right group of people for me. Well, this isn't the right relationship for me. This person isn't really my friend. They just like talking at me. They don't actually care about me, right? So they're the key things that I wanted to point out from this is like, yes, practice shutting up, listening, waiting, noticing what happens when you don't butt into the conversation and you just wait for people to ask for your advice. And then if you do feel anger come up, can you find a way as soon as possible to safely shift that energy out of your system? Because each time you do that, it will get easier and easier. And more importantly, it will get easier for you to be in the right relationships with the right people, where people will ask you, people will invite you to share what you have to say. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. So this was the next question was actually the same person, but commenting on a different comment, and they have said they were referring to a projector who is in the process of like writing a book, and this particular person had got lots of invitations to write a book, and I was very encouraging of them to do so. So the person who had commented had said, once this projector writes her book, she's not supposed to go out and hunt for publishers, correct? Is the more authentic path, the person asks, to wait for a publisher, to self-publish and promote herself while intending to reach a wider audience and or attracting a publisher in the process? Now, I know this is a little bit of a wordy question, especially since you can't see the words on the screen. So basically, let me reword what this is. You've got a projector who it is correct for them to write a book because they have been continuously invited to do so by people who value and recognize their work. And what this second projector is trying to work out, and if you are in the process, if you're in the position where you're like, I have a book to write, people want to hear what I have to say, I'm getting invitations to like put it into written word and share it with people, well, that's great. Like I can share it with people, but like, how do I actually go about the publishing bit? What's the correct way to do that? So there is nuance between different projectors, and I especially want to point you to your profile if this is you. So If you have a 4 in your profile, your opportunities to publish your work are going to come through your network of people. So it's really important that you're spending time nurturing and building your network of people, your community of people, because your opportunities to share and spread your work are going to come through that network. If you're at 5th line, then it's the complete opposite. The opportunity might come from a stranger that you meet in the supermarket tomorrow, right? It can be as random and unexpected as that, right? Now, of course, not everyone is a 4th or a 5th line. A lot of people who have things to write will have, and to publish and share with a large audience, are going to have a 4, 5, or 6. If you're a 6th line, then I want to encourage you to keep trying different things and noticing who is really valuing you as a role model, right? So that allows for your 3rd line process. I always say that a 6th line is just a 3rd line who grew up, but the 3 needs to try lots of things. And the 6 is really here to be a role model for other people. So who is looking up to you and going, can you please teach us, you know? And that could come from any number of places. So let's look again at another aspect of this question. So the more authentic path, is it to wait for a publisher? It might be. It might be that if you are sharing, if this is you, you're a projector, it's correct for you to write a book. It might be that you are sharing snippets of your book on various social media channels or to your email list. And it might be that you have a publisher who actually comes in and goes, oh, I've been reading your blog posts for ages and I think it's great. I want to invite you to come and publish with our publishing house, right? So that might happen. It might be correct for you to self-publish. And there's a very good chance that if that's correct, then somebody will say to you, hey, have you thought about self-publishing? That you're going to get some sort of invitation to self-publish. Now, here's a really important note. I really want you to hear this if this is the position you're in. If you get an invitation to work with a self-publishing company directly from that company owner or somebody within that company, and they're inviting you to pay them lots of money, that's not a true invitation. A true invitation comes with energy. It doesn't ask energy in the form of money from you. So a true invitation to self-publish would come from somebody who was in a position to like somehow open that door for you, or to direct you to resources to be able to do it cheaply or access funding to do it, right? So please keep in mind, so important. A true invitation comes from somebody who values and recognizes your work, and the invitation somehow gives you energy and opens doors to make that thing happen. So I think that that's probably answered that question. Let's go to the next one. And I'll have a quick drink of water. I see some comments on the chat there, so I'll have a look at them in a moment. And we're up to question number 3. If you're on the live, thanks so much for joining me. So on the video, projector, are your beliefs sabotaging your success? So I'll make sure after I tweak this live replay that I'll put a link to that video in the video description that'll be below this, okay? So I find that for myself and the projectors I know, this one point you raise is the most difficult. I'll explain what that is in a minute. Often projectors have a hard time physically surviving in the world because we grew up hustling. So this question is going to be most, and my answer is going to be most useful if you are a projector who has been really struggling financially, okay? This is, or you know somebody who has been, and they understand that as a non-sacral being, as a projector, they're like, how the fuck do I do life in this world as a projector? Like, seriously, how do I do this, right? If that's you or someone you know, this question is going to be helpful for you. So this person continues. So we wish to change our beliefs, but there's only 3 months of money in the bank to pay for rent, and we'll be out on the streets. And then there's the fear. The fear can really kick in to survive. It feels almost impossible to wait for the invitation until the last moment when we don't really know whether it will come before we were thrown to the streets. I just don't know, this person says. Trusting it, yes. But that doesn't mean there's a guarantee it will save you from losing your living situation or your income. This I personally find the hardest, to trust that even if it all goes pear-shaped as I wait, it's still the right thing to do and the right outcome for me. So the summary of this, I've written in a few dot points, which of course you can't see, but I'm going to read to you now. So often projectors have a hard time physically surviving in the world because we grew up hustling. So if you are a projector who grew up hustling, who was taught to hustle, then we're on the same page with this question. We wish to change our beliefs, but there's only 3 months of money in the bank to pay for rent, and then we'll be out on the streets if we're not able to make more money. And the third part, it feels almost impossible to wait for the invite until the last moment. So it is really normal in human design circles to hear this same thing parroted again and again and again. If you're a projector, just wait for the invitation and things will just magically arrive. But that's fucking terrifying if everything you've always known has been work hard, hustle, make it happen, respond to job ads, go, 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 try, and you're always stressed about money. And what I want to say is we need to feel safe in order to follow our strategy and inner authority. I cannot say this enough. If you don't feel safe, you will, safe enough to risk things, to try things, to see what happens if you just wait for an invitation, then you're never going to be able to follow your human design strategy to live into your potential, right? Now, that's not to say you're doomed, not at all. And that's why I pair human design with tapping. You don't have to pair it with tapping, but you do have to pair it with a deconditioning tool. You have to have some way to help yourself feel incrementally safer a little tiny bit every single day. I so wish every time I see a comment like this or a question like this from a client or a reader or someone in the community, I wish I had a magic wand where I was like, I wish I could just magic away all of the conditioning that says I have to work hard, I have to hustle, I have to make it happen, I can't wait, it's not safe to wait. I wish I could just magic it all away, but I can't. What I can say is that if this is you, please prioritize above everything else finding a deconditioning tool that you like, tapping or something else. It doesn't actually matter. All that matters is that it works and that you use it a little bit every day, just like you drink water, I hope, a little bit every day. And that you brush your teeth and maybe do a little bit of exercise and hopefully talk to somebody you love a little bit every day, right? It is actually, if you're in this position, it is way more important that you spend whatever bandwidth you have on learning how to decondition and clear out some of this programming that is damaging for you and gets in the way of you living your design. It is way more important that you prioritize that over learning probably anything else about human design until further notice. Because it doesn't, I have seen this with so many projectors that they know so much about human design. They know so much about their chart. They can recall really minuscule details, but they can't live it because they feel terrified to not hustle, to not push, to not try and make things happen. And I hate to say it, but if you go down that path, you will spend the whole rest of your life not managing to live into the power and beauty of who you are. And fuck, darling, I want you to live into the power and beauty of who you are, because we need more projectors who are like on fire, rocking it, doing what we came here to do. So if this is you, find a deconditioning tool. Learn well enough how to identify the beliefs that are in the way of you living your design. Even if you just start with, if I wait for the invitation, what will happen? And then notice in your body, oh, I feel terror in my chest. Okay, well, can you just tap? Can you be with the terror in your chest and just tap and just do a tiny bit, 1 minute today. Stop before you get overwhelmed, and then do a little bit tomorrow and do a little bit the next day. And don't worry if you're doing a shitty job that's like paying the bills. Keep doing your shitty job, right? While you decondition. It is not a fast process. I'm not going to tell you it can magically happen overnight. It can't. The system, your nervous system takes time to change. But do, and I'll finish up on this question here, do, like your life depends on it, learn a deconditioning tool well enough that you can identify and start to shift your beliefs that are in the way of waiting for the invitation, and do it a tiny little bit every day. And if in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months from now, things look radically different, please come and comment on this question that I've linked in the video description about changing beliefs. I would love to hear how it goes. And it will then be a beacon of hope for other people who are also in this position. Okay, now I think because I can see the chat, I might jump across there and just see if you've got any quick questions before I go on to question number 4. So, Jonathan has said, I'm a contractor. How can I gain more invites? When I do networking, I don't click with everyone. They seem not to recognize me. And by the way, thanks for your materials. Love that you're putting it out there. Thank you so much, Jonathan. And you've gone on to say you're a 2-5 self-projected projector, SPP. So, number 1, Jonathan, and anybody else who's in this, this is going to be most relevant for anyone else who shares a lot in common with Jonathan as a 2-5 self-projected projector, but it's also going to be true if you have a 5, 1, you're a projector, 2, you have a 5 in your profile, anywhere in your profile. So 1, notice when people don't invite you, value you, recognize you. They're not your people. Just move on, right? And it's really important that you have a way, and this is true for all projectors, that you have a way to be able to communicate what it is you do and how it is helpful and valuable to other people. So as a 5th line, you might do that in a way that is more easily accessible to the public, because unlike the 4th lines who need to go and tell all their people, right? You can do that. You can definitely make sure that you have communicated clearly to your friends and family. This is what I do. This is how I help people. This is what I'm looking for in terms of work. Make sure that you do that. But more than that, have you got, and you can play with this for yourself, this is a more like a rhetorical question to play with, but have you got any sort of online presence, whether it's LinkedIn, if that makes the most sense for your work? Is it any other online space where people can look you up and see what you do and see whether what you do is of value to them, right? Because we need to be able to make sure to receive invites as projectors. This is true for all projectors. And hello to the reflector who's just joined us. Hello, darling. As projectors, we need to make sure that we are communicating somehow to other people what it is that we do and how we can help them, right? So you're finding me on here because I have spent some time over the last few years teaching things that are valuable and helpful to a very specific group of people, right? Which meant it allowed you as a stranger to come and find me, right? If I had sat at home and not like shared it and not made it easy for you to come and find me, you would never have found me, right? So think about your work in that respect of like, how can I make sure that people know what I do, how it's valuable, who it's for, and then without attachment to who might invite you, you just make sure that people can find you. And then because you're a 2-5, you go back to hermiting again, right? So you just need to be out of the house, whether it's, in the offline world or the online world, out of the house and interacting with people just enough to make sure that people know what you can do. And then you can go and retreat again, okay? So I hope that's helpful. You can let me know in the comments if that all made sense. And we'll go to this next question. So, this is a question about tropical versus sidereal. So this question will be useful if you are any human design type and you have discovered that there are different systems. So there is tropical human design and sidereal human design. Now, if you don't know anything about this and you already love the human design you've been studying, you can ignore this question, right? If you're in the replay, you can just jump to the next one. So let me read the question as I received it from an email subscriber. In the tropical human design system, I am a mental projector 5-1, and in the sidereal, I am an MG 1-3 manifesting generator. Do you have any experience with these different systems in your life? For a newcomer, it's a little challenging to experience two different systems simultaneously. The mind can identify oneself with almost everything. You bet it can. So therefore, I ask you for your personal opinion because you've tried so many things in your life. Okay, so here is my current answer to this. What I want you to know first is that I was introduced to tropical human design 10 and a half, almost 11 years ago. And so that was what I had studied for several years before I discovered Sidereal was even a thing. Ra-Uruhu channeled and shared with us tropical human design. So that's the same. And most of the content that you will find available online is tropical human design. Now, what is the difference? There is a difference in how the planets have been measured, right? So it's a different set of measurements is the short answer from me, the non-astrologer. But when I was really digging into this and trying to understand it better, I asked two of my astrology clients / friends / peers who I really trust, both projectors. I'm like, what do you guys make of this? And they both came back with basically the same sort of answer that also really rung true for me and made sense to me. And I want to sort of expand beyond these two systems. So tropical human design and sidereal human design, just like astrology, the Enneagram, numerology, Myers-Briggs, any of these systems for understanding ourselves all have value. If you have any sort of robust system that has held true and over a long period of time and has been used and been beneficial to a very large group of people, then they all have value, right? There is a question of whether or not which one you resonate with. So I have met people who, Gene Keys is another example, people who adore Gene Keys, but don't really resonate with human design. Great. Like, find a system that you find feels really robust, has stayed true over time, where you can learn ideally without paying a fortune, right? So you don't want systems where even to learn the tiniest amount is going to cost you, thousands of dollars. So that is the benefit of tropical human design, is that there is a lot, like right now with this video, a lot of content that you can access for free and learn from. But what people will do is they'll get in arguments online about which one's right. And I want us to actually step back and go, all of these systems of understanding ourselves can all be valuable, but I wouldn't recommend trying to learn. This person said, I'm a newcomer and it can be a little bit challenging to experience two different systems simultaneously. Don't try and learn two different systems simultaneously. It's like trying to learn as an adult two different languages at the same time. Just pick one. Pick one you really like, whether it's tropical human design, sidereal, Gene Keys, numerology, anything. I don't care. Just make sure that it's something that is really robust, has stood the test of time, has helped ideally hundreds of thousands of people, and you really resonate with. Dive in, ignore all the other systems. And some people are designed to and really drawn to study multiple systems, but do it over time. I am still finding more depth in tropical human design after more than 10 years. I can probably keep going for another 10 years with this system and still find things. So let's not look at which one is right or wrong. Just look at they both have value. There is a lot more content available on tropical human design. So if you find yourself drawn to that, if you find yourself drawn to my work, then just play with that system. And you can always go down the sidereal rabbit hole another time. And if you're really drawn to sidereal, then honor that and ignore tropical. Okay, so let's go to the fifth and last question, and then I'll come back to the comments and check. This is a fabulous question. Can projectors guide themselves throughout life as well, or are they just on Earth to live to guide others? So again, another projector question. As a projector, I found there was such a lack of really deep, nuanced, specific, embodied content for projectors. So I have a lot on this channel for projectors. If you're another human design type and you've been jumping on and you're new to my work, please go to my channel and go and look. I have playlists for the other 4 types. So there's definitely content there for you, and courses and all sorts of things. I'll make sure I link those in the video description as well. But back to this question, can projectors guide themselves, or are we just here to guide others? So you may have heard, if you've been playing with human design for a while as a projector, that projectors are here to guide other people. We're designed to do that really well. Our aura literally penetrates into one person at a time, and depending on their aura type, some people we can guide and see and feel into. The vast majority of people we can feel into very, very deeply and know incredible amounts about the other person. And that allows us to guide them really well. But it has often been said, and I have said, and it is true to some degree, that as projectors, we're kind of clueless about ourselves. One of my mentors, I used to do a lot of study with Karen Curry Parker, and she used to say, every projector needs a projector. Because we're kind of clueless about ourselves. However, what I have discovered is that if I am, there's kind of 2 things here. One, if I am being really, really present, I can be guided by source, spirit, angels, fairies, non-physical, whoever, God, the universe, the everything. Now, of course, that's not really me guiding me, but it is me being able to be guided without needing another human being. So that's useful to know. But I have also found that when I hold the frame of recognizing that everything I see and experience in my reality is a reflection of what I hold internally, then I can, as a projector, I can guide myself by looking and noticing what is happening in my life and what is happening in my external reality in terms of the experiences I've had and the people that I'm coming in contact with. What's the outside telling me about what's happening on the inside? And then I can use that information to guide myself. So I hope that makes sense. We'll do a couple of wrap-up things here, and then I'll have a look at the comments. Actually, let's go to the comments first. So let's come here and just see if we've got anything else. Oh, that's great. Looks like it was it. Thank you so much for those who joined us. So if you found this video helpful, please share it with somebody else you know who might benefit from this. You never know how it might change their life. And here I'll put some other videos on the screen in the next day or 2 after this all wraps up. And as we close out 2024, thank you so much for every single like and share and comment and kind word and all the precious time that you spent with me here on the channel this year. I really appreciate you. Bye for now.